Good evening. Welcome to the ShadowTrader Video Weekly for Sunday, July 14th, 2013. This market is either going to never stop going up, or it is setting up for the mother of all short setups in this coming week, and I will show you why. The first point is the obvious technical resistance. The all-time high here in the S&P is 1687.18. We are currently at 1680 here on this week's close, so we're just about 7 points away from there. Now, if you look at this chart here of the SPX, it looks like a pretty normal advance, but remember that the S&P chart, the index chart, is not showing the gaps properly. So if you switch this chart to SPY, now look at the advance from here, from the lows. This is very, very rare that we see an advance of this magnitude that has moved all the way from down here to up here, and look, it's all dojis, meaning that the market is really just gaps and goes nowhere, gaps and goes nowhere, gap, 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 doji, doji, little bit of expansion range here, right? Gap, gap, small body candle. Notice how the bodies are all extremely small, whereas in a stronger advance you have open at the low, close at the high, so you get a much more stronger structure in terms of technicals. So we're definitely not seeing that. The other thing of note is that this entire move has been on extremely anemic volume. We've had volume in the NYSE trading around 3 billion shares or less. Futures market in the ES has been trading like sometimes under 1 million contracts a day. This is really, really low. So this entire move is on a pretty low volume. So I'm expecting at least some sort of a reaction. I don't know if it's going to be a big short, but I think there will be a playable short here at the prior high in the SPY. So that is going to be the play for the coming week, to be looking for this test of this high and then be looking to initiate a short ahead of it. The structure underlying that I was just talking about, not only in the broad market and the technical chart, carries forward in what we're seeing in the market profile. The market profile has been really, really weak, I would say, if you look at all of these days going back. Basically the same type of squat profile structure you're seeing on a lot of these days. And notice that where all the gaps are, I'll just show you a couple examples of things that I'm looking at. Like, for instance, on July 9th and July 10th, I think this is kind of a tell that you had the market 2 days in a row basically with small bodies here, right? Squat profile, just balancing. But in these 2 days, notice that the point of control, which is the green lines here, it actually moved down. This is interesting to me, that the market actually moved up on these 2 days, and yet the fairest price to do business moved down. The red boxes here are where the market closed, and the green line of TPOs is where the greatest amount of futures volume went off. All right. The other thing I look at when I see the profile is there's a lot of profile references here, such as points of control that are untested and they're starting to stack up. Those are called VPOCs, virgin points of control, which means that, for instance, like on July 10th here, this was the point of control at 1644.75, but notice that it hasn't been tested in the subsequent session. On July 11th, this is the point of control here at 1664.50. It has not been tested. And these numbers are all stacking up down here below us over and over. It basically tells you that the market's getting ahead of itself because the market's not taking any time to move back and fill in these areas of value. Here's another example. Here's the POC 1635. You have gap and you never retest down to the POC. Same thing here. Here, the point of control, 1619.25. Again, the market gaps when it comes in. It never retests the POC. And this is going all the way back to like the 4th of July, and you can see that even a little bit before. So this is indicative here of just structure that's poor. The first thing I said when I started talking about the profile, I said notice that a lot of the days are squat with small value areas. In a stronger market, you want to see larger value areas like this. You want to see more range extension. This July 5th here is one of the only days where there was a little bit of range extension. The rest of the days, if you go down, you see you have a very small value area, small with a squat profile, and et cetera, and it just keeps on going that way. Okay, so at the end of this week, that's being July 12th. There is a little bit of excess to the upside, but again, I am still looking for more upside action. This video is actually being recorded late Friday afternoon at 4:05 p.m., so you can still see the futures moving here since they're going to trade until 4:15. So structure basically in the profile is weak as well, and you can add that to the structure that you're seeing in the S&P, and it just kind of is exponentially weak here. One of the things I've also been seeing in the profile over and over on these days, those of you that follow my blog and at ShadowTrader.net and you follow our commentary on the Tasty Trade Show, you'll notice that we've been pointing out a lot of structural profile references that have been holding. For instance, like just for example, this is the overnight session from the night of July 11th to the morning of July 12th. And notice that in the overnight session, the market came exactly back to half back. This gold line here is 50% retracement from the high to low of the prior period. And notice that in the overnight session, where do the traders take it? Boom, right to it. So it's just, when you constantly see these sorts of references in the profile that fit like to a T perfectly, it tells you that the shorter time frame players are firmly in control and the longer time frame just isn't there. Okay, if this is the sort of thing that you're interested in, that being market profile, and I of course love it, I'm a huge fan of these profiles. Remember that I do write a blog every single morning here at ShadowTrader.net, which I would urge you guys to check out. Just go to ShadowTrader.net, click on blog, and every morning around 9 and 9:15 a.m. I do a pretty extensive write-up on what I think is going to happen in that session and give you some very key reference points to look at. There's always a snapshot every day of what the profile looks like and different areas that you should be looking for. So you can definitely check that out there. Okay, next item up for bids. We are currently in the middle of something called the ShadowTrader Uncovered Iron Condor experiment, and what that is we are doing, and I'll show you the spreadsheet right here. It's actually right at ShadowTrader.net. You can download it. We're on the Tasty Trade Show every day from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern. If you don't know about that yet, this is myself and Brad here have a show here every day for about an hour a day, and you can just check that out at tastytrade.com, and the show will play live here. We are here, ShadowTrader Uncovered. All the shows are archived here, but if you want to watch live, just tune in at 2 p.m. Eastern. You can see the archives of the programs are here. But what we're doing on the ShadowTrader Uncovered show currently is we're doing something called an Iron Condor experiment, where we're playing a whole bunch of Iron Condors. And let's just go to ShadowTrader.net. And it's Tasty Trade. If you want to download this yourself, Iron Condors.xls. That's the spreadsheet right there. And let's open it up with Microsoft Excel. And all we're doing is basically playing some Iron Condors ahead of earnings, looking to close them the next day, usually, once the volatility crush has come out of them, because obviously things are pretty pumped up for the earnings, and then things change. So far we've done 5, and this has just been going on since earnings season kicked off on the 8th. And again, you can just download this yourself under the link I just gave you and follow along. As you can see here, we did one on ADTN, TXI, Yum Brands, Infi, and JPM, and they've been working out pretty good. We put the exact entries in, what we sold. Like for instance, in the, let's take Infi for example, we sold the July 13, so that's the expiring on the 19th, the regular July options, 50 calls, 50, 52.50 call vertical, and the 40, 37.50 put vertical for an Iron Condor. These are always set up the same way, where we put the call first with the lower price to higher price, and then the put as well from the higher price to the lower price going down. And then the next morning, on Friday, we bought in the call side for a 10-cent debit. As you can see, we sold that for a 70-cent credit, and we're doing all of these very tiny with just one lot, because this is basically an exercise to show a proof of concept, to show that the volatility crushes, and that there's the market maker move that can be used on the TOS platform, which tells you basically how far you should go with the strike. So if you want to follow along with this great contest, you can definitely check us out on tastytrade.com every day at 2 p.m. and follow along here and download this spreadsheet. All right, that is all I have for this week. On behalf of myself and the entire Shadow Trader team here in beautiful Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, I wish you good trading and good night.